How's it going, everybody? I'm Ryan Devlin, excited to be back here on the Jazz Lesson Video channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my new resource with Jazz Lesson Videos called 25 Modern Bebop Etudes. In this video, we're going to go over 3 of the etudes and talk about some of the concepts I'm superimposing on top of some of your favorite standards. If you'd like to check out this resource, make sure you check out the link in the description below. And for $5 off, you can use the code ModernBebop5 at checkout. Let's dive right into it. So the first etude we're going to check out is over Yardbird Suite. This is one of my favorite Charlie Parker tunes. It's a little less standard than some of his other well-known tunes, and I really like practicing over it. The concept we're going to talk about on this etude is superimposing other chord changes on top of the ones that are given. And a line that I think outlines this well is the one that I played over the first 4 bars of this tune. So let's check it out. Okay, so as you can hear, I'm definitely superimposing some other chord changes on top of the ones that Charlie Parker wrote. So over D major 7, I'm playing right inside of the chord, using C sharps, F sharps, everything diatonic to D major. Now when I start on G and C, I'm also inside of the chords. I'm starting my circle of fourths pattern that's being played on top. So I go a 3-note cell in G, G, A, B flat, G, up to C. And then over D7, C7, and B, I continue the circle of fourths and ignore the chord changes that are being given. And instead, I'm playing my own on top. So after G and C, I do a 4-note cell in F. Then I resolve to B flat. And then a 4-note cell in E flat. And then resolve to A flat. And the interesting thing about this is it has a little bit of tension with the harmony of the chord changes. But there's a lot of common tones with this as well. There's a B flat in C7. There's an E flat or D sharp in B7, and also there is an A flat where I resolve in B7 or G sharp. Even though it has the pull of playing circle of fourths that aren't written, it has some common tones as well. So you have the pull of me playing a circle of fourths on top of those changes while still being inside of the chords a little bit. And it resolves to the 6th of that dominant chord. The second chord substitution area I want to check out in this etude are on bars 11, 12, and 13. So the second A section, where we have the turnaround going to E7. So Charlie Parker has written D7, C7, B7, sharp 11. And instead, I play a regular 2-5-1 to E. So I play like F sharp, minor 7, to B7, flat 9, or B7 altered to E. The line I chose, so I'm taking the first measure as F sharp minor 7. I start on the 3, right? And then from the and of 4 of that first bar all the way through the B7 sharp 11 bar, I'm playing a tritone away. I'm playing like F minor 7 instead of B7 sharp 11. So the sharp 11 is F, and I'm just playing the scale off of that. And then getting back to E. So it's sort of a tritone substitution while it's also me superimposing a regular 2-5-1 on something that Charlie Parker did not write that way, but the harmonic movement of that is still a 2-5-1, like a 5-1. So I like playing regular 2-5-1s when the 2 isn't there or the 5 isn't there and substituting it myself rather than exactly what's written. And it all resolves to the same place. We're going to E7. That's the important part. So you can practice playing different kinds of 2-5-1s over 2-5-1s or altered 2-5-1s that are still going to the same 1 chord. It's a really cool trick, and it sounds inside and outside kind of at the same time while we're still resolving to the same 1 chord. So let's move on now to our second tune of this video. We're going to check out my etude on I Hear a Rhapsody. check out two different concepts on this I Hear Rhapsody Etude. One is going to be chromatic cells, and the other one is going to be some false fingerings. So the chromatic cell portion we're going to look at is in bars 3, 4, and 5. So our first kind of turnaround going from F major back to G minor. So this tune is in two main key centers. They're both related to each other, D minor and F major 7. They're relative major and minors, so it's basically one key. In this section here, I'm playing chromatic cells starting on F sharp, even though the first chord is F major, because all of my chromatic cells here are trying to land on G minor 7. So I'm kind of aiming for B flat here. So here's the line. So really everything before that, I'm really kind of thinking about the D half diminished chord, my 5 to 1. You notice a lot in this etude, I'm superimposing some kind of altered 5 and then resolving a couple bars later. It's a cool way of playing different sounds on a progression that eventually leads to a new 1 chord or a new tonic. In this case, my new 1 chord is going to be G minor 7 in this phrase. So I'm playing D7 altered and playing chromatic cells around D7 altered starting on that third. So I'm ignoring F major and B flat and really just playing 2 long bars of D7 altered that resolve to G. So you can try this on any tune that has an altered progression, eventually leading to a new 1 chord. It's just thinking about the whole progression as an altered 5, play chromatically around that, and then resolve. If I could start on a different note of D7 altered, and still get to my G minor 1 chord. So try this, just think about 2 altered bars of 5 and then resolving to a new 1. The second part of this etude we're going to look at is my second A section. I play this line. So this is a lick I got from Joe Henderson, or a concept I got from Joe Henderson. And it's sort of a false fingering where I'm playing low D natural to my palm key D with no octave key. So it shoots up an octave, but it has a kind of a different sound to it. So instead of it being like where I play the octave key, I just go up to my D. It's kind of a cool thing that you can do with any palm key note, you know, when you want to jump up. All right, so I'm going to E flat. You know, an interesting thing, and it has kind of a cool swing groove to it. So it's sort of a false fingering, but I'm basically just going, it's more of an alternate fingering. I'm going from low D to high or middle D, but instead of playing middle D the conventional way, I just go to that palm key D. It's a little bit easier to get to. It speaks a little bit faster and has a cool sound to it. So try this with those different spatula key notes and see if you can get some cool rhythms out of it. It swings really hard. And check out more Joe Henderson to listen to these sorts of ways of fingering those notes. Let's move on to my third etude now. This is going to be over giant steps. Okay, so over my giant steps etude, we're going to look at this second chorus, the first 8 bars. You'll notice that I sometimes ignore the chord that I'm playing on if it gets me a different sound that eventually resolves to a new 1 chord. Giant steps is one big sequence, right? We're going 5 to 1, 5 to 1, 5 to 1 at different speeds in what we call a matrix. This giant steps matrix is C sharp, F, and A for me on B flat instruments. So we're always going to those 1 chords with either 2 5-1s or just 5 to 1s. And you can use these as resolution points anytime we have a new major chord. So for example, if we look at what I played over A major to C7 to F major to B minor to E7 to A, I am really looking for A major as my landing point. I'm kind of ignoring sort of specifically the C7 chord and the F major chord. As you can see, I'm playing like a B flat minor sound over F major that eventually resolves to A. So let's check that out. So I'm landing on, that's what I'm looking for. Before that, over C7 and F major 7, I'm not even thinking about those chord changes. I'm really just thinking about how can I get to A major. So I'm playing B flat minor over F. That doesn't really fit, but I know it will eventually get me to A7 because B flat melodic minor is a tritone substitution of E7, which is the 5 chord, eventually resolving to A. So even though I've placed this in a different place, it doesn't sound wrong because the direction in which our ear is looking for is that next major chord. So it just sounds like a little bit of pull that eventually resolves to a new 1 chord, right? So at any speed that these progressions are going at, even in a matrix like giant steps where the chords are very outlined and each major chord sounds like a new home, that A major chord is a little bit of a stronger resolution point than the F because of the phrasing that I'm using here. And I can superimpose that tritone substitution of the 5 chord of the 1 chord that I'm going towards. Right? And that leads me to my new section where then I can try and do the same thing over the next sequence of progressions. So always remember, the number one thing is knowing where you're going to resolve a phrase, usually in the 3 or 4 bars is kind of like the standard. And what you play before that doesn't matter nearly as much as knowing when to resolve. So you can get away with playing a lot of different things on major chords, minor chords, dominant chords, as long as you know where you're going to land eventually. All right, I hope you liked these concepts on these modern bebop etudes. If you'd like to check out this full book where I have 25 of these etudes, you can click the link in the description below and use the code ModernBebop5 for $5 off your purchase. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and let us know what you want us to talk about next in the comments, and I'll see you in another video.